in South Africa as we welcome the Kenyan Rugby League team on an historic afternoon for the game of rugby league on the African continent. They are the visitors today, and now the home side, South Africa, the Rhinos making their way out of the sheds. A warm reception from the small crowd that's gathered here at the home of Naka Bulls. We are in the Jacaranda City for this very special occasion. International Rugby League here in South Africa. Our pictures live from Pretoria. Great to have you with us. Jason Costigan in commentary here. And in the box with me for this first of two internationals, Tunzi Mabeta, the man they call Fudge in this part of the world, well known to followers of the 15-a-side game, particularly from his days in Super Rugby and in the Currie Cup. Fudge is with me in commentary today. Looking forward to working alongside him as the two teams line up for the respective national anthems here. As I say, for the first of two Rugby League internationals, the game having started here in South Africa more than 6 decades ago, as the official party comes out to meet the players. Dr. Anthems, the fans rising, standing on their feet, as you can well imagine here, to Well, not big in numbers, but certainly an enthusiastic crowd here at the home of the Naka Bulls, the defending, in fact, the triumphant Gold Cup rugby champions. In recent times, of course, they've had plenty to crow about, so we would call it a boutique suburban facility in the world that I come from, Fudge, but the field looks great. It's in terrific condition, and the sun setting behind us for the Rhinos versus the Jasiri. South Africa versus Kenya. This should be good, and a big thanks, a big shout out to all our sponsors as we look at the two teams here. The Rhinos from 1 to 17, dominated by the Harlequins Club. Actually was at their ground and club rooms last night for the presentation of jerseys. Fudge, you can just imagine the national pride, particularly given recent events. I saw the trophy tour in the mother city in Cape Town only a few days ago. It's hard not to catch the disease.
Yep, it is contagious, and a lot of these players will hope that they can dig deep. It is a game that requires a high level of fitness. They will need that, especially against the Jasiri side, which love throwing the ball around. So they're going to have to dig deep. There is a fever in the air. Let's see if they can finally get that first win on home soil for the Rhinos.
All right, well, everything is set here for this test match. The first of two against Kenya. South Africa chasing their first win on home soil. Remembering they came onto the international stage back in the early 1960s. They've played in London, Paris, Rome, Auckland, Sydney, Brisbane, but they never won on home soil. Can they do it tonight against the visiting Kenyans? It'll be the visitors, the tourists, who'll get us underway. It'll be Kenya running from right to left on your screen, South Africa to receive the football. All set. Our two referees, Deploy and Barnard, just checking with their timepieces. All is set. This is history in the making. Let's get it on. Off the tee, the ball is launched, and a kind bounce, and it's the South Africans who bring it back with Altus Delport. 121 kilos of prime South African beef on play number 1. And straight away, we have a mistake. Well, that's almost an anticlimax, isn't it? I've got to say, Fudge. Tunzi Mabeta is my co-commentator here, and everyone holding their breath to see what was going to happen on that opening set, and someone let the air out of the balloon.
Yeah, Costo, maybe it's the nerves, maybe that excitement bubbling over. They want to do better, especially from first phase like that.
So Kenya on the attack, and it's a penalty. The ball's been ripped out. Well, that's just ill-discipline. There's a gift 2 points if the Kenyans want to have a shot at goal. Remembering they only turned up in the country a matter of hours ago, about lunchtime, I believe, after their original flight was cancelled. And after some discussion, the referee's pointing to the sticks, and it will be Kenya having a shot at goal. If you're new to rugby league, 2 points if this one goes between the sticks, not 3, and a chance for the tourists to draw first blood here in Pretoria.
Good start from them, Costo, it must be said. Nice and accurate. Silly again, 2 unforced errors. I thought it was a decent pass. It should have been easy. It was a good run, well timed and all. The knock-on came, and then ill-disciplined, ripping the ball when the play was on the ground. They'll have to do better than that, the Rhinos.
So the shot at goal, it's fairly straightforward. Just trying to pick up the number plate for the man who's got it on the tee. I think it might be the fullback. We'll just check. The flags are up. I think it is the fullback in Lawrence Okello. And it'll be 2-0. It is 2-0, and it is Okello, who is a reliable customer, they tell me, at the back, and he made no mistake. So we've got a mistake on the scoreboard all of a sudden, but just on, as the right on cue, it's been rectified. It's 2-0. We had 3 that's just a moment ago, but it's 2-0 to Kenya, the Jasiri leading the Rhinos. So the Jasiri now receiving the ball, and I've got to say, Fudge, they're a long way from our commentary position. For those people wondering where we're broadcasting from, there is no cherry picker here. We're not up in the jacaranda trees. We're actually literally, what, you'd call it ground zero.
Ground zero is what I'd call it, yes indeed.
In fact, it's quite a nice little picnic. I'm not going to get romantic with you here in a test match, but it's a little bit of a picnic table and just waiting for the olives and the cheese to come out. Kenya bringing the ball away from their danger zone. Jason Costigan in commentary here as the ball stripped by South Africa. I thought it might have been play on, but I think the referee's ruled a knock on against the Rhinos here.
Fine. Knock on.
Let's see which way he's going to put. Well, he's going to rule a knock on against Kenya. I think that's a little bit harsh, but again, we're a long way from the action here. And at ground zero, pretty hard to call it. The referees much closer than we are. Referees Duploy and Barnard. So South Africa with a chance to apply some pressure here as they spread the ball. Sun setting in the background. We'll try and pick up these numbers as best we can. That's a dusty pass. It's beautifully picked up there by the number 6 in Jean Kutza. And now they almost penetrate the line. This is looking promising here for the Rhinos. 3.5 gone. And they're queuing up. And it's Delport. Can he bump and offload? No. Good defence. They stuck to him like glue and put him on the ground. And now they come this right side in the corner. I think they might have got a try here. Yes. Yep. There is a try, the first in the test match. And it's the right winger for the Rhinos. And Sean Masane has scored 4-2. South Africa take the lead after 4 minutes.
Brilliant. Good patience shown as well. A big bustling run through the middle. Although he was taken backwards, it was a little bit scrappy coming off the deck, but very good hands. Good little switch moves as well to keep the Josiri defense tight and then taking advantage of creating those one-on-ones and the space on the outside.
Sean Matsani from the Nigel Rabbitohs. Caught up with some of the Rabbitohs last night at the presentation of jerseys, and needless to say, the boys were bouncing around, itching to get on the field here tonight for this test match. Tough shot at goal coming up here. Also tough calling it because I can't see, I literally cannot see the goal kicker from where I am. So we're relying on the pictures in front of us from the sideline. It's on its way, and it has got there. Beautiful kick from the sideline. Unbelievable. 4 becomes 6. And South Africa with a 4-point buffer here in Pretoria in the first of 2 internationals. Mulder converts from way out on the sideline. 6-2. The Rhinos over the Josiri.
Yeah, I think the Josiri just needed to be a lot more clinical in the danger zone. Keep it nice and simple. It was very good stepping, but the ball was ripped and the knock-on was called. South Africa took full advantage.
Back into the next chapter of play. And it's the big man winding up. Oh, he lost the ball. It just popped out. Well, I'll tell you what, he's a big body, isn't he? You've got to say about Delport, but you would never give him any Waterford Crystal. The Josiri looking to capitalise on another South African mistake, and I've got to say, Fudge, early in the count.
Just looks like both sides need to just have a little more composure in that danger zone. The Rhinos twice now in their danger zone. Twice they've spilt the ball.
I'll tell you what, the Kenyan captain, Ndinya, he has got a beautiful pass on him from left to right, I beg your pardon. Slow play the ball, about 25 out from the South African goal line. Running at the teeth of the Rhinos' defence. Again, we are at ground zero, trying to call a test match. Buckle up, doing our best. They go for a field goal. Can you believe it? It is a failure, and then some, and South Africa bring it back beyond the 20.
Move.
And again, the Rhinos lose the ball. Well, they just cannot handle it. Someone needs to go down to the local hardware store and get some Tarzan's grip and do it now.
Yeah, interesting call from the Josiri there. Go for goal. But again, strong defense. They were keeping it perhaps just a little bit too close to those huge defensive players of this Rhino side. Already seen ball in hand. They can be so dangerous. Just need to hold on to it. Maybe the Josiri will find more space on the outside like the Rhinos did to score that try, but keeping it very simple so far, the Josiri.
We've got an injured player right now. Expert comments this evening coming your way from Tunzi Mabeda, a.k.a. Fudge, alongside myself. Jason Costigan in commentary here for the first of 2 International Rugby League fixtures. These matches, Fudge, of course, sanctioned by the International Rugby League. And for perhaps people who are curious, new to Rugby League, both teams playing for world rankings here. It's 26 versus 31 as it stands now on the pecking order. South Africa 26, Kenya, new to the scene last year at 31. And keeping things into perspective, this is South Africa that's actually been to 2 Rugby League World Cups, including the Centenary World Cup back in 1995, which celebrated 100 years after the sport broke away from rugby union.
Yeah, and I think it will be a slightly disappointing, won't it, Costo, for the Rhinos? They would have expected a little bit more investment, perhaps more buy-in to the culture of rugby league, because there is just an absolutely huge pool of talent in this country.
Unbelievable. The mind boggles. And when I saw that trophy parade in the mother city, as you call it, in Cape Town, watching that parade, I've never seen so many cops in my life. Seriously, I thought there was a visiting head of state. In fact, there was a busload of them. It was unbelievable. I had to pinch myself. And to think how many surplus players are out there, we'll come back to that later on during our commentary. That pass was an absolute shocker. That's a Sydney Harbour Bridge pass. It went right over the top and they didn't have to pay the toll.
Yeah, unfortunate, that one. As soon as they tried to go to those wider channels to take advantage, keeping it away from the big defensive players of the Rhinos, a mistake like that. Uncharacteristic. I feel they've moved the ball around quite nicely, the Josiri. Well, better than the Rhinos have, at least.
I've got to say, Fudge, both teams clearly are nervous. I'm going to cut some slack for Kenya as we see South Africa spread the ball. But who can actually get to the end of their set and put some pressure on? That's play one. Look where South Africa are. They spread the ball from the scrum. I'm just holding my breath to see if they can maintain possession. I'll tell you what, they're not too far away here. Some anxious moments coming up here for the Josiri in defence. Another penalty. Well, we don't get to tackle 5 or 6. They'll look to keep the pressure on here. It'll be it's a touch finder. They're not going to gain much in that, but they'll be on their own goal line here, Kenya. They've already conceded 1. 9 minutes gone here in the Jacaranda City, and it's South Africa leading the Josiri 6-2. Here they go, showing some adventure with the ball on the previous set before the penalty, right in front of the sticks. And they come this right side once more. They're looking for Matsani. Again, I dare say. It's shut down. Kenya do well to scramble. Help! Some of these numbers a little bit hard to pick up in the white. Kutsa spots an opening out wide, and there's the try, the second for South Africa. And it's Manas Kutse, the left centre. He dots down, and South Africa inside 10 minutes hit double digits in Pretoria. 10-2, kick to come.
Yeah, much better from the Rhinos. From inside their own half, they started to give the ball a little bit of air. Accurate passing, beautiful passing, it must be said. Great options as well to the playmakers. Some nice short runs. Good defense from the Josiri, it must be said, in those wider channels. But they went from coast to coast, touchline to touchline. And unfortunately, the Josiri unable to fan out quickly enough. They let the ball do the work. They had the numbers. Much better rugby from the Rhinos. I think inside their own half, maybe you're right, Costo, just a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I think that second try will steady some of those nerves. There was a lovely ball from Jean Kutsa, who's playing standoff for South Africa. He's one player who actually played in Australia at a semi-professional level in the city of Wollongong, which is south of Sydney, playing in the local competition for the Corrimal Cougars. I wonder if there are any Cougar supporters watching our live stream from Pretoria. The shot at goal is successful from Mulder, and it's 12-2 after 11 minutes. The Rhinos with a 10-point buffer here in Pretoria.
Yeah, the passing is, there's that dummy line. Very good to try and keep them nice and tight. And there's the skip pass as well. Beautiful pass. They had the numbers. let the ball do the work. It's Kutsa with that floating pass.
You can see him put his hand up. He knew he nailed it. Lovely delivery. And the support was there to finish the job. Back underway here. Our pictures live from the home of the Naka Bulls in Pretoria.
Hold. Move. Tackle one.
We'll update that score in a moment. Disregard what you see in the top left of the screen. It's actually 12-2 as we come up to 12 minutes. As day becomes night and as South Africa makes some inroads.
Move. He's on his knees.
Up towards halfway.
Move.
Some desperate defence from the Kenyans. Marunga making the stop. Kutsa goes to the left side again. They spread the ball. And now it comes across to the winger in Mapete. He plays it back, the man in the headgear. And now a kick, a test at the back for Okello. And, well, that's heart attack stuff. It's cleaned up eventually for the Kenyans. And there's no high tackle there. But try telling that to the referee. Seriously. We come to watch rugby league, not tiddlywinks.
Came flying in.
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to see a replay, but please.
With all the talk in rugby union about high tackles, I'm sure.
Different sport, Fudge.
Yep.
This is not a game for powder puffs. I'll give you the tip.
I've got a feeling you'd say that, Costo.
Yeah, we might get Revlon as a sponsor for the next game.
Get out of jail free card there for the Josiri. They'll be very happy with that.
Oh, they won't be complaining. The acting coach, John Mbai, knowing his team, having conceded the 2 converted tries, they need to get down and dirty. Kenya on the far side of the field. Very small touring party, 16 homegrown players. They have 1 player from outside Kenya who's involved. He's on the bench. His name's Steve Muniafu. He plays for the Harlequins club here in Pretoria, so he'll be up against some familiar faces when he joins the fray at some point in time. Kenya trying to get out of their own end. A darting run out of dummy half. The man in the dreadlocks is their number 9. His name is Victor Undungu. You can't miss him with a hairstyle like that. Now the ball's been spelt. I think that should be 6 to go. I thought a rhino touched the ball and the referees missed it. Both referees have missed it. It's the last. The last has been signalled. And that's just dumb rugby league. The referee had the arm extended and there was 13 Kenyan players who dead set need to go to Specsavers. I cannot believe what I just saw.
Okay.
Yep, they'll feel a little bit hard done by there.
Well, hard done by. I don't think hard done by. They should all give themselves an uppercut because they only have themselves to blame and they've invited South Africa here. Straight away, look at this, Fudge, into enemy territory and they're going to get some more tackling practice here and you get the impression the Rhinos, they're hungry.
Yeah, they've got some momentum now, don't they? And they're changing it up, keeping it nice and versatile. They're keeping it tight and wide.
My goodness, that was a near thing and he knows it too. Matsani had visions of a double inside 15 minutes and he just couldn't quite reel it in. But it was building nicely there. Good vision, just the execution not so on.
Yeah, I think both sides just not getting that accuracy, especially when the moment is there to be taken.
I mentioned how the Rhinos are hungry. I kid you not, there's a gentleman behind me.
It's on.
And have a look at the chicken that he's about to devour. The Rhinos aren't the only people that are hungry.
Costo, I'm sure you're hungry as well. Welcome to South Africa. We know our meat here.
Well, I tell you this, I had my first braai about a week ago, and I felt like Fat Albert after I finished.
Tackle one.
South Africa have got the ball. They're cooking up something here themselves.
Hell two.
Looking for try number 3. Hope you're enjoying the live stream from the place they call the Jacaranda City, Pretoria, as we see some fancy play in the middle, looking to catch some tiring defenders. It's a penalty here against Kenya. I'm not sure what the call or the ruling is, but what we do know is that South Africa have got more ammunition.
And they've been very clinical and very dangerous
Captain,
when they're in the Josiri danger zone.
Captain.
They've had 2 visits and they've converted that pressure into points twice.
Let's see if they can go again.
Okay.
False start, referee says come back.
Sure. Please talk to your team. When a player
Marcel
on his knees,
Cornelissen
he's getting up. Your player has to be
on
off there.
play 1, but
Okay.
it wasn't to
Please talk
be.
to-
Marcel, in fact, struggling going into this test match with a recurring thumb injury. I saw him getting some treatment on it at the home of the Centurion Rugby Club Saturday week ago. It's been causing him some grief going back a while, but he was good enough, obviously, to play today, passing a fitness test. So
Player has to get off.
he's an experienced
Can't be on top of the
campaigner.
player when he's already
I'm not
off.
sure what this business is here with the 2 referees.
Okay.
It's not something that we've become used to in other parts of the world. But anyway, it's more possession for the Rhinos. And now a barnstorming run from the captain, Sip Low. And he's put on the broad of his back, right in front of the sticks. He eventually plays the ball. It comes to Mulder on this right side. And now to the second row forward in Cornelissen. He's only a metre shy of the goal line. Battle stations here for the Kenyans. And now from dummy half, it's a try. And it's the smallest man in International Rugby League. He's 65 kilos wringing wet. And Franco van Deventer has scored a try. He became a dad 2 weeks ago. You reckon he's not the happiest man in South Africa?
Sure is.
Is he happy?
It's a test first between these 2 sides, the Rhinos and the Kenyan Josiri. And Van der Vent, a slippery character. We've seen a few snipes from him already. I tell you what, there's a player from the Josiri who stopped him quite nicely, James Maranga. You've got to stay nice and frosty around those fringes, especially when you've got a character like Van der Vent, always looking to take advantage of those 2 meters.
Lovely moment it is for the nippy number 9. Started playing rugby league in 2018. And wife Celia giving birth to baby Aliana only 2 weeks ago. So a beautiful moment for the family on and off the field. The shot at goal is converted. As we look at the replay here, excellent lead-up work. And the number 9 pointing the finger and then said, I'll have a crack myself.
Yep. Victor Ndungu maybe just had his eyes on the wrong player there. Tackle was made. It was a good tackle. He had to stay away, keep his eyes on Van der Venter. Not the easiest player to spot, of course, as you mentioned.
So back underway, and it's 18-2, a commanding lead after 19 and a half minutes or thereabouts. Now, again, going to their big men in Delport.
No, it's held.
Nice hands from Kutsa. He did well there. He was entitled to drop the ball, but he did awfully well to pick up a scrappy pass.
Yeah, very good skills. Took it nice and good little switch. They've done that a few times. Kutsa looking sharp.
Matsani down the sideline. He's manhandled here and he's dragged over the sideline. Desperate defence from Brian Mutua. Mutua did very well.
10, 20.
And it will be a Kenyan ball here, surely. What's he ruled here?
Captain. White ball.
As it will be. A scrum for Kenya, a Kenyan put in here. Mutua, he's actually part of rugby league folklore. Fudge in Kenya. He's actually the first ever try scorer for the Josiri in International Rugby League. He got that honour on that expedition to Ghana last year in the Middle East Africa tournament in the defeat at the hands of Ghana, but getting his name into the history books as we see the Josiri making some good progress here after coming up with the stop.
Yeah, and you could see, you know, not that experienced, but he's definitely got a love for rugby league. Used the touchline as an extra defender really nicely. And to be fair, the outside channels have been marshaled very nicely by the Josiri as well. Great communication and organizational skills.
As we've said a couple of times already, as we move into the second quarter of this match, Kenya only arriving in the country at lunchtime. Their original flight cancelled via Kigali. and they stayed overnight in Nairobi. So they've done well to get here. This game originally scheduled a week ago, as we see the Kenyans attacking the far side of the field, a long way from our commentary position here at the home of the Naka Bulls. And now a kick from the Kenyans. At the back, getting a good look at it, is the fullback. He's wearing 14, but Cedar is his name in the custodian role. He only had eyes for the footy.
Yeah, he sure did. That's very well taken. Maybe not a contestable kick there, but the Josiri, must be said, they're doing very well on defense, not missing many tackles.
And Fudge, always tricky, isn't it? As we see the ball loose out the back, play on's the call, as it should be. And South Africa growing in confidence, you get the impression as they just keep the ball going. But always difficult as day becomes night for a fullback. In fact, anyone playing back three.
No, 100%. Look, these aren't the best lights as well in Pretoria. Of course, Loftus-Versfeld, not too far from here. That's where you'll find some fantastic lights at night. So it will be a little bit tricky under those kicks. Perhaps a strategy that might be employed by the Josiri or maybe the Rhinos to keep their lead.
18 plays 2, almost 23 gone here in Pretoria. Great ball and some fantastic backup, and going through is Kutsa. The standoff, nice support play. Experience coming to the fore, and now Mulder floats the ball out wide, and Matsani, he gets a double. This time he is not denied. They went straight up the middle, and then they spread it, and they cash in. The Rhinos score once more.
That's what they've been doing so well. Costo taking it up the middle. The tackles have been very good by the Josiri up until that moment. I think it was Van der Vente who just released himself and was able to perform that offload. Perfect support line from Kutsa. Kept his patience, great composure as well to just set it up. And then what do? Mulder gets into that playmaker position. Great pass to Matsane out wide. Very well worked try by the Rhinos.
I think that try, Fudge, will certainly impress the coaching staff. Funny, Bredenan would be nodding his head there. That's more like it, he would say. And I think the word that you used there in looking back on that try, the word you used was composure. And Kutsa, he could have panicked. He's an experienced player with the company that he's surrounded by. That's not a reflection on the players playing for the Rhinos, but he's been around. He knew what to do, and he got the job done.
Yep. Good rugby league from an experienced player in this Rhinos side. Great to see.
So it's 22-2. About 5 in from touch, and waved away. So 22-2 is the score, and you get the impression that South Africa smell blood in the water.
Yep, they're starting to run away with it now. We haven't seen too many offloads. So good. That is how good the defense has been from the Josiri, but rugby league, I'm not going to say it's all about the offloads, but it is famous for the offloads, and there's a player who comes to mind. Who could that be, Costo? None other than Sonny Bill Williams.
Yeah, well, he was pretty handy at it. I had the pleasure of calling Sonny Bill Williams, playing both for club and country. Most destructive player in the game at the peak of his powers. As we go back to work with South Africa, bringing the ball away from their own goal line. Get out of my way. There's a bulldozer here in Pretoria, and it's on 2 legs.
Chad Pretorius with that carry.
Well, I met his father last night, and Chart Senior, I'll tell you what, he would be suitably impressed as we see South Africa on the attack, running rampant. 6 and 7s here for Kenya, looking very raggedy in defence. But Pretorius, big body coming off the bench in 19, and he just said, come to daddy.
Look, and not easy. They've defended hard. They've shown heart. We know that is characteristic of the Kenyan nation. And the Josiri surely have done that. But what I like about how the Rhinos have gone about their business, they keep attacking the close channels, making sure those tackles have to keep being made. And now you can see the Josiri starting to tire a little bit.
This will help their cause. This will help immensely. A penalty. They'll look to touch, or find touch, I beg your pardon here. Expert comments from the man they call Fudge. Tunzi Marbetta is with me, riding shotgun. Ground zero we are. I'm Jason Costigan. We are live from Pretoria for the first of 2 Rugby League internationals. between these two nations. South Africa up against Kenya. Kenya playing just their third test match after travelling to West Africa just over 12 months ago. And here they go with one of their big men. I think there might be Marunga. As we see the end on camera here, running at the middles for South Africa, the middle of the defensive line, if you like. Trying to pick up some of these numbers. If we can get a bit closer, it might be a little bit easier. They go the right side from dummy half. Starting to get rather dark now as the lights do take effect. 10 out from the goal line. Can Kenya conjure their first try of the test match? They're repelled. Okello, I think it is, in the headgear. The last has been signalled. It was Okello. Oh, big shot! My goodness. That's how you stop them. A brick wall. It certainly was. And South Africa, well, they keep their try line intact in spectacular fashion.
Yep, James Campbell with the shoulder there.
South Africa showing some adventure with the ball.
Tackle 2.
35 out from their own goal line. Five short of halfway. That pass was forward. The referee was really in play there and he let it go. I cannot believe it. 12 before the break. Nothing going the Kenyans' way at the moment as South Africa look for more points, going out wide, and they're going to get there. No, the flag is up on the far side of the ground, but it was building again for the Rhinos. And Kenya, well, they are gassed. If there's a fuel tanker in Pretoria, it needs to come to this ground.
Yep. Tough times out there for the Josiri. We do know they will play with everything. We can see those tackles being made, but it's ferocious. The attack, the big boys in this Rhino side, they are like Rhinos, aren't they? And it will be tiring having to make those hits and then having big hits being made against you as well. So hanging in there, the Josiri.
Well, a confidence play here from the Josiri on their own goal line. And they do well. They do very well to stay in the field of play. And that was Masete on the end of that play. They need to treat the sideline like a precipice. I'm not sure what John Mbai, the coach, is saying to his players. Probably half-time for him. Cannot come soon enough. This is much better from the Kenyans. Playing directly, going straight up Main Street.
Really dominating the advantage line as well now. Great little versatility with the way they're attacking. Much better from the Josiri.
Ball's been spilt. South Africa have got it. That's play on. Well, the referee, I didn't come to watch a scrum, sir.
Off you on the floor.
It should be play on to South Africa here. Well, I cannot understand that. It happened about 30 metres from me, and it was a knock-on against Kenya. South Africa dived on the loose ball. It's play on in rugby league. We didn't come to watch scrums.
Yeah, it was very good reaction again. Great awareness from Jean Kutsa. Combination between Jean Kutsa and Van der Vente, really fantastic. The decision-making around the breakdown has been top-notch.
Inside the final 10 minutes of the opening stanza here.
Get it in. All in. It's out.
Pictures live from the Jacaranda City. And Kenya, well, that's a lucky break for them because it should have been a South African ball. It was as clear as day, even though it has now become night. 20 metres out from the goal line. Jason Costigan calling the action here in this first of two internationals. That ball over the top. Some adventurous play there again from the Kenyans, and they've got the try. Okello, I think, is it? No, it's not him. It is a try, and it's their first try. We'll try and pick up the number here for the Kenyans, but the Josiri have got their first four-pointer in South Africa. Well, we've lost the close-up shot. I've lost who the player was. We're going to have to try and find out who that was. But the number's going to go up on the scoreboard. It's 22-6. There's a bit of a chat going on here between one of the referees and a couple of the Kenyans. I'm not sure what it's about.
Okay.
Might have been one of the players getting a head knock. I'm not sure what the story is here, whether it's a head injury assessment for the Kenyan centre in Collins Ocheng. It might have been Collins Ocheng who scored the try. But what we do know is that it is 22-6.
It's fine.
It's very dark. If you're here and we're in our position, you would concur as we see the end-on shot behind the sticks, the shot at goal. Up go the flags. As we see the replay.
Yeah, great way to come back. Fantastic skill to get that pass off there. It was Brian Mutura. And then in the corner,
well,
I think it was actually...
It was Okello.
Yeah, it was Okello.
Yeah,
it was Okello.
Was Okello? No, it wasn't. I'll tell you who it was. For Kenya, it was Masete.
Yep, it's Ramadan Masete who scored that try.
It was Masete, I beg your pardon, but great play, lead-up play, getting the ball free and providing the opportunity out wide. So it's 22-8. We've got about 7 minutes before the break. Jason Costigan in commentary. The man they call Fudge is with me. Tunzi Mabeta. Great to have Tunzi commentating on the Rugby League for the first time. It's his first crack, so cut him some slack. Great to have you with us on board in your country here, Fudge, as we go into the next passage of play. And it is a picture postcard setting. It's a beautiful time of the evening, isn't it? Although a little bit difficult for us trying to call the action here from ground zero as we see the Kenyans, all of a sudden, they've got their tails up.
Yeah, they really do attack. They've got some energy, don't they? A bit of a pep in their step now here. The decision-making, they're nice and alive around each other. Great support play, great communication. The offloads are starting to stick as well. And that's why they were able to get right back into the Rhinos' half so quickly. Another fantastic carry. That time, I believe it was their captain, Danish Ndinya.
Kenya on the attack, looking to set it up towards our commentary position. Spreading the ball, but losing the ball. Rhinos have got it. Pressure off. South Africa. And now zipping away goes Dylan Fenta. Fenta is chopped down. Should be a penalty against Kenya here. The markers went early. Surely we're not going to see a knock on here. Surely to goodness. The marker was a mile offside. Come on, Fudge. Where are you, brother?
Well, you know what? The referee maybe just struggling to keep up with the game, but that time, I guess as well, the Rhinos have had a lot of momentum on their side. The Kenyans have come back now. They're playing a little bit better, playing more rugby, and perhaps that's why the referee's giving them that advantage, not really spotting that offsides.
Wherever you're watching in the rugby league community around the world, great to have you with us in the early hours of the morning in Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific. To our friends in France, bonjour or bonsoir, early evening. Maybe you're watching in Toulouse or Bordeaux, Avignon, Carcassonne, or in the north of England, or anywhere in the Republic of South Africa after the joyous scenes that have unfolded in this country. And it's quite amazing for me to be here as a visitor for the first time, Fudge, to see that unfold and then to see your National Rugby League team on display here tonight. 5 minutes out from half-time. They lead 22-8. Kenya looking for their second try of the test match. The ball comes towards our commentary position. And that pass, well, it was never on. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there, but Collins Ocheng really overplaying his hand right in front of our very eyes. There was a narrow corridor. Talk about tiptoeing through the tulips.
And Sean Matsani again with that cross-covering tackle. He's keeping nice and tight. He's been caught once or twice with that cross-cover, but he's done well there. The pass
was never on.
Yeah, never on. He should have held it, should have kept it direct. Just passed on trouble.
Anyway.
They do have to put into the scrum, though.
Well, I'm not sure how that came about, but anyway, they'll take it. They won't be complaining about that as we see the Kenyans looking to get something here in the run-up to half-time. 4 before Oranges, and they're not too far away. In fact, that's the 20-metre line they're on, and they go the right side, And my goodness, that was a purposeful run then. But what about the defence? Like the Rock of Gibraltar, no way through. Kenya now in some traffic looking to find a hole. There's nothing forthcoming. The referee getting an appeal for a high shot. Nothing doing there for the Kenyans. That pass was, well, I thought knocked back again. The referee thinks otherwise. Maybe someone needs to get out the protractor.
Yeah, well, I guess he's just trying to keep consistency now. And it was Kutsa who made that tackle. You can tell that he's got great experience in the game. His awareness and his reaction speed to what he should be reacting towards in this game of rugby league has been spot on. It was Kutsa with a fantastic hit on a run. That was brilliant. What a line. Coming at speed like that, you'd expect him to make a few more meters.
So the scrum forming in the dying minutes of the opening stanza. South Africa, you'd expect some safety first rugby league here. 14-point advantage. Now, a shock tactic, a kick over the top, bouncing ball, and it goes over the sideline.
Pace from Sean Matsane in your picture now. Incredible, it was on.
Yeah, it's outside the 40.
Fortunately, the ball won the race there.
He's seriously got some wheels, hasn't he?
Okay.
You know, if I was a motor vehicle dealer, I'd sign him.
Over the 40.
Now he's got some pace about him, hasn't he? The right winger for South Africa.
On the line.
You can see both teams really are running low on energy here in the run-up to half-time. But if you're Kenya, you're probably going to take some positives out of it because it looked like for a moment there, Fudge, they were going to get blown off the park as the Jasiri go to the heavens. Midfield bomb, bouncing ball, and who's going to defuse it? Looks like the South Africans have got it under control. That's a knock-on, I thought, on the far side of the field. No, say the match officials.
Tackle 2.
And that was the 16 playing it back in Van Heerden.
L3.
Coming off the bench. The referees looking to a quick play of the ball. South Africa going up the middle. No offload forthcoming here. The marker's a mile offside, and this time he pings him. I'm not sure if he got some advice from the match officials watching from high above, but good call. It's a tap and go. Some pressure here on Kenya. And going straight up the middle, you can see it's building here very nicely for South Africa. On their own goal line here, the Kenyans. Kutsa looking to set it up out wide, and they ran out of real estate. Can you believe it? Somehow, Kenya, they dodge a bullet.
Yeah, Martinez could see it. I think he should have been coming onto it and diving. Perhaps the skip pass, not the right option from Kutsa. But what a tackle it was from the number 11. James Maranga going around the legs nice and long.
Well, he's had a whale of a game so far for Kenya. He's probably been arguably their best, I dare say, and very busy in defence. And it may well be a bigger mountain to climb in the second half without his heroics in that first half. So almost out of time here in the first 40, and I'll tell you what, for Kenya, they need that whistle, they need that siren.
Yeah, no, definitely. What a comeback from them, though. I don't know where they found the energy, because it would seem in the last 15 minutes, momentum has been on the side of the Josiri.
Yes, it'll give them some hope at the break. And as I've said a number of times in this live stream, they only arrived in the country just around lunchtime as they spread the ball. We've gone past 40 minutes, so the referee will call a halt to proceedings. I'm not sure if it's going to be in the hands of the timekeeper on the sideline to blow the whistle or the siren or the hooter, depending on what part of the world you live in. There goes the siren at half-time. And now, let's see what Kenya have got on the final play of the opening half. Some razzle-dazzle, you'd expect. Here they go. They press the go button. And they'll die with the football. So an exciting end to the first 40 here in Pretoria. One half in the books in the Jacaranda City in this Rugby League International. And at the break, it's South Africa in the box seat on course for their first ever win on home soil. They lead Kenya 22 points to 8.
Yeah, what a first half that was. Great fight back from the Josiri, must be said, full of momentum and energy. The Rhinos, they dominated the first 25 minutes. A few uncharacteristic mistakes, perhaps nerves is what we called it, Costo in their danger zone, but they were very clinical when they did get into the green zone, into the Josiri's danger zone. And just take a look at the Josiri try here. It was a very good carry by the number 13, Ratemo. Great little offload and good hands. Let the ball do the work. How's that for a finish as well? Brilliant.
Yeah, the pass was from Brian Matua, in fact. The man who I said earlier, or during the course of the game, he's part of folklore now in Kenya, scoring the first ever try for the Josiri in International Rugby League. How he released the ball there to promote the football was quite classy. And not anyone can just come on the field and do that. He's obviously got some bulk, some size, but some skill to release the pill to set it up out wide. You can't score out wide unless you get the ball and get quality ball, and Matua deserves plenty of credit for that try to give the Josiri a lot of heart. But what about this man? So much speed out wide for the winger for Kenya in Sean Matsani. He can motor.
No, he can, and I think he knows it as well. Look at that stance. That was a very good piece of play. Not much defense to work with, or to work against rather, for the Rhinos there, but that just shows you the kind of rugby they were playing in that first half, keeping it tight, making sure that the Josiri get tight and have to react to those big heavyweights carrying the ball, and then spreading it out wide when the opportunity and the space allows.
So halftime is upon us here. Both teams are refueling and filling those lungs with some oxygen. As you can well imagine, they have toiled and then some in the first 40 minutes. But the first half does belong to the home team, leading Kenya 22 points to 8. In commentary with me tonight is the man they call Fudge. Tunzi Mabeta is with me. I'm Jason Costigan. And I'll tell you what, Fudge, you mentioned it a couple of times during our broadcast. Such a huge nursery of riches here, of playing talent. I'll be the elephant in the room, if you like. Not everyone is going to be able to play for the Bockies. There are some great opportunities out there for players, both boys and girls, to fulfill a dream, if you like, and represent their country on the world stage. And if that's rugby league, then so be it.
Yeah, 100%. Costa, you know, Siep, the captain of the Rhinos, mentioned it. He's gotten to travel to 21 countries all around the world. And yes, they do have to pay from their pocket. It is still considered an amateur game here, but the exhibitions are professional. There is a Rugby League World Cup, which is absolutely massive. The sport is huge in New Zealand and Australia and in Northern England, and it is starting to grow. There's a team in Canada that's growing. Investments are starting to pour into Rugby League. And I think South Africa, it's about time we became a nation to worry about or to consider. I don't think number 26 is good enough for us.
No, it's not, and it doesn't reflect the talent available and the potential. There is massive potential for South Africa to go north on those rankings. And for those people, again, who are new to rugby league, and indeed our younger audience watching in many parts of the world, South Africa has been to 2 World Cups, playing rugby league for the first time against Great Britain when they came here in 1962, so more than 6 decades ago. Then they go to New Zealand in 1963 under the coaching of one of the great legends of rugby league in the country that I come from. He played for the club that's now the Sydney Roosters. He played for New South Wales, and he played for the Kangaroos. If you follow cricket, you'll know who Sir Donald Bradman was. Well, this man was known as the Bradman of rugby league, the great Dave Brown. And he actually came to your country, Fudge, to promote rugby league in South Africa, and eventually he also took on the national coaching job, and he was the man who coached South Africa to victory, that famous victory that I touched on, when they beat the Kiwis 4-3 at Carlaw Park in Auckland, which is huge. The spiritual home of rugby league in New Zealand. And it was huge at the time. There were some iconic names that played for the Kiwis back in those days. The late Graham Kennedy comes to mind. He famously once went toe-to-toe on the field, not in a physical sense, as in Biffo, but in terms of holding his own against the great Reg Gasnier, the man they call Puff the Magic Dragon. These were no mugs for the Kiwis, that's what I'm saying. And your country before the Rhinos name was adopted, beat them. In fact, I think they used to call your national team the Rugby League Springboks. So in historical terms, your country has an interesting history, if not a rich history. And then, of course, in the early 1990s, the game was restarted and culminating in your country playing in the Centenary World Cup, where the game was born, celebrating 100 years of rugby league in the north of England, and then again in 2000 before it again petered out. So, if you like, this is a third coming, notwithstanding the pandemic, which, of course, impacted on the world as we know it, not just sport. So I think there's exciting times for rugby league, and Dr. Frans Erasmus and his team from SA Rugby League, massive potential to grow the game, particularly if there's some investment from the first world economies. And I look to Australia, England, France, and of course New Zealand, especially with South African Andrew Abdo as the chief executive of Australia's National Rugby League. If anyone at the NRL in Sydney gets the South African story, it's literally the CEO.
Take a look at that. And as you know, Costo, you mentioned these huge battles. We love battles against the Kiwis. We see it with the cricket side of the world. We've seen it in the World Cup. And again, great information and great education and knowledge that you've shared with us here, that those battles and that culture of battling against your old foe exists in rugby league as well. And for me, my dream would be that one day we'll get to see that again. New Zealand versus the South African Rhinos, and in New Zealand or here in South Africa, and perhaps a full stadium as well.
And to put my cards on the table, your country has had world-class rugby league players. And yes, they have come across from the 15-a-side code. We talk about that famous 1963 victory. 60 years ago this year, Fred Griffiths, goal kicker, could play in the back line in a number of positions. He went to rugby league with the famous Wigan club in the north of England. And then he was brought down under. In fact, I think the club paid for his whole family to come to Sydney to play for one of our foundation clubs that were there when rugby league started in Australia in 1908. He came from Wigan to the North Sydney Bears, and Fred Griffiths was the maestro, if you like, of that 1963 victory at Carlaw Park against the Kiwis, the coach being the Australian Dave Brown. And only recently, Fudge, I was in the north of England watching England playing Tonga in the Test series. I was at St Helens, I was Merseyside, and I remember going into the Eric Ashton room and seeing on the wall a great image of Tom van Vollenhoven, who came over from rugby union, and at St Helens he is worshipped like a god in the heavens today as we speak, but still worshipped by the old-timers like a god, because he came over from rugby union and he became a dead-set superstar. And I actually went to Headingley recently, and Gary Hetherington, the chief executive of the Leeds Rhinos, one of the powerhouse clubs of Super League, they have a beautiful trip down memory lane, and they have the best 20 players in the history of rugby league that have graced the turf of Headingley from 1895 to present day. And your South African legend, Van Vollenhoven, is in there with the other 19 legends on the wall. So to give South Africans some perspective, you have the ability, you have the history, and you have the talent, and the rest is up to you guys to attract the investment, the support from government, the private sector, overseas investors, and to give kids something to aspire to, or something different, if I can say that respectfully to you, particularly with your background.
Yeah, look, Costo, thank you again. Brilliant. And I think that's something that as South Africans we hold on to. When we know that there's a rich history, when you've got uncles or someone's uncle or father that was involved in the game. And what I love is that our history is becoming more diverse and told now across all the many different cultures that we have here. And I can tell you one thing, Costo, South Africans were born to play rugby. Union or rugby league. And I agree with you, there is a huge pool of talent that could come and play this game, and I can't wait to see those investments keep pouring in and us going from strength to strength and becoming, again, another World Cup challenger in the rugby league spheres.
And just on that too, Fudge, just to bring everyone into the picture, if you like, there are some green shoots appearing. We've got the London Broncos developing a relationship with South African Rugby League.
Yep.
In Nairobi, the Kenyans have a relationship with the Leeds Rhinos. We've seen activity in West Africa with clubs involved there, like Salford in the north of England and others. So this is a great thing that's happening right across the continent. Play is about to get back underway. We've got some fans standing up in front of us as if it's time to go home, but we'll get on with the show. And referee just checking his timepiece. Here we go. It'll be Kenya running from left to right on your screen. And the score is 22-8, so a 14-point deficit. And straight away we see a mistake. And that is disappointing. I'm not sure what John Mbai, the acting coach, the caretaker coach, filling in for Eddie Rombo, who I said before the get-go, mourning the passing of his dear mother. Again, our thoughts and prayers with Eddie, who's an ornament of the game, a dual international, a man who's been the founding father of rugby league in Kenya, unable, of course, to be with us here tonight. And his replacement, John Mbai, he would be shaking his head in dismay with what he just saw after giving his halftime address.
Yeah, Costo, it's called a coach killer because now the Rhinos get to go forward.
They sure do. And this is Cedar. Cedar plays it back. And now zipping away in the 14 jumper. In fact, it is Cedar now, I beg your pardon. It was Campbell before. It's really getting dark here. And we've got some people literally in front of us, so I'm going to have to do a bit of a boogie to see what's going on. And thanks very much, fellas. That's live broadcasting for you.
Sure is.
We needed some ushers as we see a floating pass, a cut-out pass out wide, and South Africa are in again. I do believe, or was the pass forward? It was. Well, it looked good. It looked real good, but it doesn't count.
Yeah, and you can see the SA Rhinos giving the ball a bit more air, spreading it out to the dangerous wingers a little bit earlier than they were in that first half. Clearly, I think they've seen that space is starting to open up in those areas.
Can you breathe a sigh of relief? 2.5 gone, second stanza. Expert comments from the man they call Fudge. Tunzi Marbetta is with me. I'm Jason Costigan. Our pictures live from Pretoria. Yes, we are in the Jacaranda City for the first of 2 Rugby League internationals, sanctioned by the International Rugby League, playing for world rankings. Oh, big defence, heavy defence. What about the technique from the smallest man on the field? He's like a pygmy, 65 kilos, but what about the technique? Can you believe it? Franco van der Venter, he's just got an amazing technique. I met him last night for the first time, and I told him the story of a small player from 1987, and they said this bloke will never be any good. Never any good. And he got picked for the Queensland State of Origin team. He went on to play for the Broncos and the Kangaroos. Alan Langer, today one of the all-time legends of rugby league, and he was of similar physique. Little man, but a big ticker and a great player.
And don't you just love players like that? I think they do have a bit extra in them, don't they?
Well, he makes up for it in other areas. That's an understatement. As we see the next passage of play and that sideline getting awfully close for the Kenyans, and they've lost the ball, have they? What's he ruled here? Well, it must be a knock-on. It has to be a knock-on. I couldn't see it from where we are, Fudge, but the referee has spotted a knock-on. And Kenya, this is just, well, John Mbai, he'd be pulling his hair out because they just can't get to their kick, and they're just inviting trouble here for themselves. Yeah,
and we saw the sapping effect defending against this Rhino side had against the Josiri.
South Africa on the attack. Pretorius goes to ground. Benchman, 30 metres out, making inroads once more. Some fancy play here from South Africa. Cedar injecting himself from fullback. lightweight fullback wearing 14. Vanta, the pass was dusty. Kutsa's got it, still standing. He'll offload if they let him. He is finally rounded up. 18 out from the goal line. The last has been signalled by the referee. They're going to spread it. They're going to chance their arm out wide. Kenya's defence is firm. They do well. Hats off to the Jasiri because it was battle stations for them and they stuck to their guns. They did very well.
Yeah, they've shown heart. They are committing 1 or 2 extra players to the tackle. Sedat using his feet really nicely. It took 3 players to bring him down. And they'll need to watch out for that, but they've got ball possession. That's what they needed.
Kenya now, they'll need to treasure the ball as they bring it away from their danger zone, right in front of our commentary position. Nice work there from the forwards. Confident play, keeping the ball alive and going to ground was Ekutu. The Kenyans now, not much momentum as they try to get beyond their 20-metre line, and as a result, the ball carrier, he's easy prey, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. It was a big hit there from Chad Pretorius again, but good shifting of the ball here. They're offloading really nicely, the Josiri.
And the pass was forward, though, and it's a fair call from the match officials. But you got to give the defence a rap here because I'll tell you what, Fudge, rushing defence, Kenya, you can't half tell they've travelled overnight. They look, I won't say jet lagged, but they had a disrupted night, change of plan, ended up staying in a hotel, foreign surrounds, getting up early, trying again, and now all of a sudden it's starting to unfold, isn't it? Here is Cedar. He is dynamite. He is in. Or is he? Just short of the line. Was that a try saver or what? Referee says, come back here. Well, it's a penalty for a flop, but what about Cedar? He sliced through like a hot knife going through butter.
A little more dew on this grass and he would have slid over the line there. Unlucky Cedar.
If they played the game in Canberra, it was 4 points on a cold winter's night. Maybe the north of England. Take your pick. Here comes South Africa. Kutsa once more, fighting the ball. And now it's the centre out wide. I think that was Kutsa. And, well, it's very dark on that far side of the field. We've got no elevation, no visual of numbers or anything. It's a mad scramble over there. 8 minutes gone in the second half. A rushing play here. South Africa looking to bust them up the middle. I think it might be Mulder on this occasion. He's so close, right in front of the sticks, on their own goal line. Here, the Rhinos, they'll crack them surely. Well, it's a penalty to Kenya. I'm trying to work out what for. I've got no idea. I know the referee's very good at showing everyone where the mark is, but that's about it.
Yeah, look, desperate defence there. Great scrambled defence from the Josiri.
Oh dear. Can you believe it, Fudge? They couldn't find the line. Cardinal sin.
Yep.
I cannot believe what I just saw. Oh, well, John Mbai, the coach of Kenya. Oh, South Africa, straight up the middle. Some marshmallow defence. And it's the big man himself in Delport who crashes over. Or is it? Is it Delport? I'll just check his number.
I think it's number 16, Justin Van Eerden would be, yeah.
Van Eerden is the man who got through. I couldn't believe there was so much defence there. But they were standing around like statues.
Yeah, I think they just needed to take their time, show patience and composure. Captain Denish needed to just slow it down a little, make sure they find touch. They were so desperate with that scrambled defense to stop the Rhinos from getting over the line and then missing that touch finder, having a huge bustling run from Van Eerden. Tough ask.
How you can't find touch, I'm sorry, but that's really basic stuff. Really basic stuff, and they pay a price. They pay dearly for it.
Yep.
It's 26-8. So we'll just update that score. 10 minutes gone in the second stanza. 26-8. South Africa leading the Jasiri. The home side on course for their first win on home soil. The shot at goal is on the money. And the scoreboard ticking over once more as we look at the replay, and it was the 16. Look, he was just queuing up. He said, give me the rock and I'll do the rest. Look at this.
Yeah, you're right. Not focused, not paying attention, and they'll want to just refocus, regather themselves and push again. Very, very tall ask for them. I think it's not doing them an injustice calling them jet-lagged. Huge ask for them now in this 30 minutes now. Look, it took them 10 minutes, the Rhinos, to score that try. So the defense was desperate. They do play with a lot of heart, the Josiri, but they've got to focus. Easy try that for the Rhinos.
51 gone here in Pretoria. 20 points the margin. One wonders if Kenya will make a game of this. The try scorer, Van Heerden, brings it back on play one. And now the captain. First time he's captained his country. He spoke to Fudge pre-match. Very excited. Of course, I'm referring to Lowe as we see South Africa overplay their hand. That was not necessary and not too far from the coaching staff. And Fanny Bredenhahn would not be happy with that after scoring points and then producing that as the follow-up.
Yeah, it should have held on to the ball, should have realized he's running towards the touchline. But again, Mutua was in the thick of things for the Josiri on defense. His decision-making, using the touchline as an extra defender, and then staying nice and away on the inside in case the offload comes.
These Rhinos players from different clubs in the Rhino Cup competition, stacked with players from Harlequins, but also representation from the Pretoria Bulls, Nigel Rabbitohs, Centurion Lions, Brits Bulldogs and Grizzlies, all represented for the host nation in this first of 2 test matches. And for the record, the Kenyans from their own local competition, the Rift Valley Ruffians, Wynnum, the Rhinos, Wolves, AP Warriors, and of course one player from the Harlequins here in Pretoria as we see a penalty, and it's a tap and go, and they're hungry. That's a very skinny 10 metres. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to buy carpet off the referee because the Minister for Fair Trading would get a letter from yours truly. And on the back of that, can you get the ball? Can you believe it? It's a penalty. In fact, it's almost a professional foul, Fudge. They weren't back the 10. They were never going to be back the 10. There was a possible try building there. Not only did they avoid getting a player sent to the sin bin for 10, they got the ball. And the worst, another shocking kick for touch. Twice. I tell you what, South Africa, big shot. Great tackle. Cedar. Well, he just ran into the centre for Kenya in Ocheng, and, well, he was like a forklift. Well, Kutz has dropped it, but I reckon fair enough. He's probably in shock.
Yeah,
What about the tackle from Ocheng?
Huge, great stepping, fantastic skill to skin 3 players and then walked into a dark alley, Collins Ochieng.
I was actually down at the docks in the mother city in Cape Town, and I saw some pretty good forklifts. But Ocheng, he should get a job down there. I'm sure, so long as he's got the right visa, of course. And I'm not suggesting anything untoward, but
yeah,
that was a pretty deadly stop. You got to say, that's
incredible.
That's probably one of the highlights. In fact, definitely one of the highlights of the Test match. But what about the touch finder? I was going to say John Mbai, the stand-in coach for the Kenyans. I'm not sure, I'm not very familiar with this part of Pretoria, but if there's a pharmacy nearby, he needs to go up there and get some pills.
Yeah, he'll be stressed out. He'll be stressed out. They've never really looked like they're totally out of the game, the Josiri. They've had moments where they've come back. They didn't allow the Rhinos to score. Took them 10 minutes to score that try. So they have been in the game. And 2 incredible mistakes not to find touch when you're inside, you're half under pressure.
player getting some attention back on his feet. His name is Okello. He's the captain coach or the player coach for the Rift Valley Ruffians. Rift Valley Ruffians home ground. It's about 100 miles from my recollection from the capital Nairobi, and they have been in the last 2 grand finals, close but no cigar. So he's their captain coach. He was the player getting some attention just a moment ago, their fullback, but he looks to be okay to take his place for the next passage and play here. 28-8 is the score after 55 minutes or thereabouts. And just repeating what we said earlier, this match, the first of 2, Kenya have lost the ball cold, and South Africa with Kutsa, who's, I dare say, been probably the best player on the field, has got it.
No doubt.
No panic. Not surprisingly from him, no panic. Now they come this left side, and it's the front row forward and captain in low, Sip Low, out the back door to this Jack Rabbit in Franco Vantavanta. He keeps it going. They're only about 8 metres away. It's building nicely here for the South Africans. You get the impression they're going to crack them once more. A bit of a mix-up with the Rhinos, and they pay the price. It breaks down, but it looked promising, did it not?
It did. It did. Josiri just can't get out of their 22, can't get out of the red zone.
Yeah, but they're their own worst enemies. Failing to find touch. Please. Not once, twice.
And you speak about Kutsa and how calm he is, never panicking. I think that's so important for the captain, knowing your pressure's got their backs against the ropes. There it comes.
There it is. Kutsa's the architect. And the finish coming from Manus Kutse. He gets 4 points, and it's 32 points to 8. It starts to blow out here in Pretoria. And again, the Kenyans digging a grave for themselves.
Yeah, quick ball, Kutsa, nice flat pass, brilliant line as well from Kutsia. It's a good finish from him, but in 6s and 7s, the defense, it almost seems like a theme of the state, not just physically of this Josiri side, but also mentally. I feel like the captain should be calming things down, slowing the game down as much as possible, making sure that they take their time and make sure with their kicks for touch, slow down the scrum a little bit, organize them, try to steal some time to regather yourselves, because right now the Josiri looking a bit scattered and more desperate.
Another 2 points to the tally for South Africa. It's Mulder, I do believe, the scrum half, who adds the extras. And it's 34 points to 8. 34-8 with 23 to go. So just recapping what we said in the first half, these two teams not only playing for silverware, not only playing for bragging rights, but also there is a calculation. Don't ask me the formula, Fudge. I was pretty good at maths, but the formulas used by the International Rugby League, well, you want some pretty switched-on economists to work that out. But what I will say is this match and the one that comes up following this one has a bearing on the world rankings, the IRL rankings. And just recapping, it's South Africa at 26, Kenya 31. And all of a sudden you think, I get the impression South Africa, they're going to run away with this. They're going to come up with some more points here. They're very super hungry now.
Yeah, they've got their tails up. You can see another big carry. This time it's Sip Low, the captain.
He's
and
like
it was the try scorer, Van Heerden, before him.
Like a runaway truck down the sideline. Get out of my way, he says, inside the red zone, so to speak. And Cedar looking for a chink in the armour. He sucks them in like a hoover. 11 out from the goal line. The marker's a mile offside, and the referee surely has to blow a penalty here. This has to be a penalty. And it is. And it is. It'll be a tap and go here. They're going to look to turn the screws. Well, we've got a Kenyan player down injured in the in goal, and some great sportsmanship there with one of the Rhinos just telling the match officials perhaps that he should call a halt to proceedings. So terrific sportsmanship there, Fudge. In the heat of the battle, some great work there from the player in the in-goal for South Africa. In fact, is it a match official? It might be the in-goal official, is it? It is. It's a match official, an in-goal official. They haven't had much to do, have they? I'm not sure if they're getting paid. They could have made a cup of tea for the whole game. But he's done a good job here, a good deed in saying, listen, we need to stop play.
Yeah, great camaraderie between the two African nations. Fantastic to see. And of course, the officials, they will learn from this experience.
It's amazing. I'm so used to seeing South Africa and watching highlights of your country playing and wearing predominantly the green and gold strip. So when you see the match officials wearing that, because, yeah, the mind sometimes works in mysterious ways, so to speak. So we do have a halt in proceedings here. 34-8 is the score as we watch the replay. And that's just a lovely ball. And Kutsa, he's just got some silky skills about him, and he's a cut above the rest.
He really is. And the timing of the pass, I think that's what's so good, the way he moves his body, making sure that the defenses always just can't keep their eye off of him. And that's what allows Kutsia to run that line and get around Mutua.
Well, he ran a great line, but fantastic vision from the standoff to set it up. So the penalty has been given and play is allowed to continue. Lowe was technically offside, but the referee says play on. 9 out from the goal line. Mulder. Short ball. The defence is up to the task. Anxious moments here for the Kenyans. The Jasiri on their own goal line. And now a try from close range. Got no idea who crashed over. Looks like one of the big boppers.
He's been busy throughout this game.
I think it might be Delport, is it?
Yep, Altus Delport. It is indeed.
He took some stopping all game, really. And on this occasion, they couldn't stop him. So we come up to the 1 hour mark, and the margin is already 30 points.
Yeah, you mentioned it, he took some stopping. Of course, with a big player like that, you want to go low, you want to go for the legs, but you've got only a meter behind you, so you need to have that support player making a double hit, making sure that he's covering the ball.
From close range, Mulder makes no mistake. So it's 36-8. 36-8 as we look at the replay here, and the big man, Delport. Well, you've got to go high if you're going to stop a man from close range like that. You need to get off your line and jam them. You can go low as much as you want, but you're not going to stop him from crashing over the whitewash. That's exactly what he did. I'm sure that'll be something that'll be addressed post-match in readiness for game 2.
Yeah, here we see big Altus Delport. Again, too close to be stopped. Needed the assistance from a second player there, making that double hit so close to the line, like you mentioned, Costo.
Got some help from the goalpost as well. Made it a little bit easier for him in terms of having not to deal with a defender to his left. So heads-up play from a front row forward. Here we go. South Africa, our clock has suffered some sort of issue. I'm not sure what sort of issue it is, but we had more than a minute to go. I'm not sure what they're doing with that timepiece. So probably fair to say we should disregard that. 34-8 it is. And of course the second match coming up also here in Pretoria on Saturday. Make sure you join us for that. And Mulder goes through. Mulder takes them on. Mulder still going. Mulder for the line. Finally they come at him, the Jasiri, and they snuff out the try. Mulder doing everything but score. The number 7 plays it back. And from close range, they're in again. Or are they? No, just short. Incredible stop from the Kenyans. They come towards our commentary position. And now out wide, South Africa are in once more. And it's James Campbell who plants the ball over the line. And the points keep on coming here in Pretoria for the home side.
Yeah, it's taken quickly. This is where they've been catching the Josiri napping. Behind the back to Kutsa, the playmaker. He knows the space is out wide.
That's a triple cutout pass. I kid you not, that's a triple cutout pass. Puts it in, you know, I mean, I had a double whopper during the week. I didn't have a triple whopper. But that was a whopping pass with great vision. And Campbell, well, he knew what was going on.
He knew exactly what was going on. Not only did Campbell, who was the one who collected and scored in the end, but Siadan does really well to just stay alive and almost raise his hands, committing the last defender for the Josiri. Remember, with those lofted passes, very easy for you to shift off of a player, adjust and catch the player, ball and all, in those wider channels. So, well worked again by Kutsa, and brilliant play from the inside players to keep the defense pinned.
38-8 is the score. Expert comments from Tunzi Marbetta, the man they call Fudge. This is Mulder, who has it on the tee. I should probably keep my voice down because he's right in front of me. Kicks on its way, and it's waved away. You can blame me for that.
He's been pretty good, Mulder, off the tee, must be said. And I think he will blame you for that one, Costo. But good play from the Rhinos. They're really starting to find their form, their momentum. The decision-making's been good. Good composure close to the line, making sure they recycle and cross the line for that try in the end. The Josiri really struggling now. I think you have to blame fitness. It's not heart, maybe composure and understanding of the game. But with every game, they will take invaluable experience. A huge moment for not just the Rhinos who are in the lead here, but of course, the Josiri as well.
Back underway here in Pretoria, South Africa in the comfort zone. They've been in that position for quite some time. Hot favourites coming into this game in the eyes of most observers. That pass was a shocker. Scraps have been accepted by one of the players for the home side. And now a bustling run going straight up the middle. I'll try and pick up his number in a moment. Still going. I think it might be Cusselman. If it is, he's the only survivor of the team for South Africa that got flogged 66-6 in a World Cup qualifier 4 years ago by the Cook Islands.
Yep, not something you'll hear about South Africa and the word rugby in the same sentence there.
The Rhinos on the attack with Lowe playing it back, the captain. Little kick in behind the line from Cedar. And it's beautifully picked up. Okello, oh, he launches the counter-attack. Look at him go. In fact, it's the centre in Matua. He's still going. Still going. Oh, yes, baby.
Wow.
Unbelievable, scintillating pace in Pretoria. And Matua, he lights it up, baby. They could see that from outer space.
What a try, Brian Mutua. Incredible. He had to dig deep. He put it into third gear. He got caught there by Campbell, but the fend was good. Found an extra gear. Again, no one left at the back. Rhinos were on the attack. It was against the play, and what a finish from Mutua. You said he's one of the most experienced players in this Josira side, and showing that.
I tweeted about him, if we can still call it that, before the game. I said, he'll be a player to watch. I did not expect that. He had everything to do. What did he run? 95 metres? He not only weathered the storm for his team and got the ball, he had everything to do.
Yeah, and he had everything a rugby league player needs. Great awareness on defence. The transitional play was brilliant. Getting past those defenders, the Rhinos defenders, showing strength after the awareness. Making sure that he's identified where the space is, he's running into arms, breaking through those tackles, and then the speed. There's absolutely no substitute for it. Mutua.
Watch the replay. The kick's on its way. It's waved away, but that I could watch that replay all night long. That was just beautiful to watch from Mutua. And so it's 38-12. South Africa 38, Kenya 12. First meeting of these two nations. And only Kenya's third rugby league test match. Lost first up to Ghana in West Africa last year in the Middle East Africa Championships, and then followed that up with a victory against Cameroon. And look at this. He was just amazing to watch. Right in front of us too, Fudge. Right in front of our commentary position. We had a bird's eye view. And great evasive skills there. Like he just said to the South African #1, Campbell, see you later.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up. It's mine. Mutua, huge positive for this Josira side. They will take from that and they will build from that. And I tell you what that does to a change room, to a squad, incredible.
Mutua giving South Africa something to think about in a game that they have dominated, it must be said. Definitely, as the scoreboard would suggest, by far the better side, as we see the Kenyans turn it over once more, which has been emblematic of their performance. Referees called a halt to proceedings here. And just repeating the clock that we've got up the top of your screen. Not sure what's happened to that. It's suffering some sort of ailment. Here at the home of Naka Bulls in Pretoria, it's the Rhinos with a 26-point buffer. Game 2 of this 2-match series coming up on Saturday. If you're interested in following that, or maybe coming to support South Africa, if you're watching anywhere in Pretoria or indeed Johannesburg, Centurion, any of these places, and you'd like to come and watch the game, you'll certainly have an enjoyable experience. It'll be a late afternoon kick-off on Saturday, as we see Cedar. He's only, well, a lightweight customer, and he's had the ball stripped. It's got to be a penalty. Surely there's 2 in the tackle, and it happened right in front of the touch judge. Cannot believe what I just saw.
Yep, I don't think he's reacted appropriately there, but like I said, Costo, a learning experience for a lot of these officials.
Well, I've been told about the pickpockets, but that was absurd.
See that? So dangerous. You mentioned people coming out and supporting the Rhinos this coming Saturday. What an absolutely amazing place to have a braai. I'm sure those who have been aware of this game absolutely enjoying themselves. What an evening it's been.
Well, I enjoyed my first ever. In fact, it was the night of the big dance in Paris. Not surprisingly, and great hosts, fantastic night. And yeah, as I said, by the time the night was over, as I said in the first half, I felt like Fat Albert.
There's the defense there on Cedar. It was Mutua in the thick of things again as well.
22-8 it was at half-time as we see South Africa go on the attack, looking for more points.
Ooh,
oh, my
bus
goodness.
Is full.
Ho-ho! Castleman, the loose forward, not far from the sticks. Bit of a mix-up from dummy half. They are repelled. Kenya, for the moment, hold firm. Castleman, Kutsa, looking to set it up. He goes across to his main man once more. And Kutse, Manus, he collects once more. What a deadly combination. And Kenya, they're learning the hard way.
Yeah, they really are. Again, he's Larkham like Kutsa. He's quite a bulky player, but take a look at his passing style. So lazy. And just the timing of it is perfect. The defense, again, it's a misread that time from the outside backs of the Josiri. But Kutsia just shifts so nicely. Lets the ball beat the player.
42-12 it is. It's ticked over into the 40s. Kutsa showing plenty of composure as we enjoy that replay once more. I'm sure his father, Andre, will stick that in some highlights reels to show the family far and wide. And now Mulder, who may well be looking for me after the game. But I'll just keep quiet for a moment because he ain't too far away once more. He has it on the tee, about 8 in from touch and 23 out from goal. Let's see how he goes as he gives me a bit of a stare. On its way, looks good. It looks real good. Never looked like missing.
Brilliant. Splits the sticks. What's really impressed me about the SA Rhinos, especially towards the latter part of the second half, they're sticking to their structures. Although it's been a little bit unstructured and desperate, maybe a little bit scrappy from the Josiri, the Rhinos are keeping to their structure. They know what works. They're making sure that everyone's on the same page, and then they're able to execute beautifully like this. Players running their dummy lines, keeping to their structure. Kutsia letting the ball do the work. It's a Kutsia combo working once more.
The lethal left for the Rhinos. Another great illustration of that. The restart, the Kenyans are a mile offside. Has to be a penalty to South Africa. The referee, the touch judges, they've all missed it. They saw the knock on. You know what happens to swimmers at the Olympics when you go a little bit early?
I know you're going to tell me, Costa.
Well, I think you know.
Get out the water, start again.
And I wouldn't even be calling for the developed print in this case.
Yeah, it would have been perfectly timed if they weren't offsides, the Josiri there, but you can see what they were trying to do, keep the kickoff nice and short.
Trying to get away with it. Look at that. Have a look at that. Anyway, back to work we go. The ball, well, goes over the sideline. Very sloppy play. 44-12. Look, the players on show here, they're obviously not at the professional level, but it's been a great honour for both teams, players from both nations, to represent their country. The International Rugby League's highest individual honour is the Golden Boot. And this game, I'm pretty sure, is not counting towards calculations for that award, but without jumping the gun, Kutz has been man of the match for mine. He's stood out head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, he really has. You can see he's got a good understanding of the game, and maybe that's why he's sticking out. Remember, only 3-4 tests in the Josiri. They will learn from this. They will go from strength to strength. And remember, the Rhinos as well get better, trying to work their way up the standings, and they will also learn from this. But it's been a good battle.
Has indeed, as we see Kenya looking to salvage something from this. They'd like to take some positives into the return match on Saturday here in Pretoria. That's not going to help. Over the sideline, and a pat on the back from Lowe. The big man. He's like a bear, isn't he?
Siep Lowe.
A big grizzly.
Yep, he's a big boy. Carries really hard as well. And he's been a good leader as well for the side. I think they've shown composure when they've needed to, when they've been under pressure, and they've been making some uncharacteristic, unforced errors. And they've been able to just come together, regroup really nicely. And they're keen to just keep fighting. And what I've really enjoyed about the Josiri, they don't stop coming at you. They will keep coming. We've seen the big hits. You saw Ochiang with the forklift hit, so they'll keep coming at you, even though they get knocked down.
How good was that? How good was that?
Highlight of the game.
Well, there's been a number of highlights.
And you know what?
Including Matua's runaway.
Both the Josiri.
Yeah. So there's some positives for the acting coach, the caretaker coach, John Mbai, to take out of this when they do their post-mortem. And keeping in mind, they only lobbed at OR Tambo at lunchtime today in Johannesburg.
Huge.
Here goes Cedar. Here they go once more. And now cutting back in field for South Africa. The number one in Campbell. And getting there in numbers, the Josiri, but only just. A dummy half, Kutse. They spread it. They're going to score here. They're going to score. And it's Sella Villian, the old stager. Sella Villian goes in, coming off the bench, the veteran. And he's going to enjoy that. He'll probably be asking his wife, did she get a photo of it? And for the record, yes, she's the, if you like, the official match photographer. So, Charlize, over to you, my dear.
Right beside us here. Again, brilliant pass from Kutsa. Excellent weight, great accuracy, and he's timed it lovely. Stella Viljoen on the unders line, cuts through them beautifully, no stopping him, full pace.
He's an interesting player too, because when we talk about players with their pedigree, their heritage, what's in their blood, I can tell you in our audience, the man who just scored the try, and possibly his penultimate game for South Africa, He's eligible through his parents and grandparents, I kid you not, as we see the shot at goal, very straightforward, adding another 2. In the case of Villian, he's not only obviously playing for South Africa, but get this, Fudge, he's eligible for Kenya. He's eligible for Uganda, and I don't think he's probably waiting for a phone call from Sean Wayne, but he's also eligible for England.
Oh, wow. How's that? Diversity and options as well for Yun, but he's a Rhino through and through, and I think he's been enjoying his rugby league as well with this team. They seem to have quite a lovely chemistry about them here at the Naka Bull Stadium.
Yes, indeed. So well done to the 32-year-old, the man they call Salah, getting across the stripe from the Nigel Rabbitohs. And they're one of 2 undefeated teams in the Rhino Cup, which is obviously on pause at the moment in this country to allow for the international program that you are witnessing right now as we speak. That brought up the 50, the shot at goal from Mulder, so the half century has been reached. Not too sure about how much clock left in this. I dare say we're in the dying stages of this first test match. 50-12 it is here in Pretoria at the home of the Naka Bulls. It was 22-8 at the break. And so, Fudge, I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you seen enough from the Jasiri to suggest the next game will be a lot closer?
Look, taking into consideration the jet lag, the heart that they've shown, I think they've definitely had some big hits. I just don't believe that they've got the legs or the size to deal with some of these huge runners.
Yes, there's no substitute for size. It's all well and good having some pace, but as we see the last being signalled by the match officials, who've had plenty of work to do tonight. Referees Deploy and Barnard, well done to them. It's certainly an evolving situation for the match officials and a real learning curve for those particular individuals, but we need to acknowledge their effort in not only here tonight, but also with what they do week in, week out with the Rhino Cup competition. That competition in South Africa, an 8-team competition involving 7 clubs, but with ambitions to expand year on year.
I think they will. I think they will. We've got club rugby. It took a really big evolutionary step with a comeback of the ARC Gold Cup, which just passed. In fact, the Naka Bulls won that trophy right here on this field. So club rugby is growing, and when club rugby grows, I think there'll be a lot of other players that would like to get involved in some rugby league.
I'll tell you what, I did overlook something too with Villian getting that try as well. 8 weeks ago, he became a dad for the first time. So to Charlize, who, as I say, is the official match photographer and of course, the man on the field in question. Congratulations on the arrival of Viandre, baby Viandre, arriving into this world only 8 weeks ago. So another beautiful story on and off the field tonight in Pretoria.
Yeah, there have been some fantastic stories. And like I said, I think they've got a really powerful chemistry in this group, the Rhinos, and the Josiri definitely will be looking to grow on this. They've shown incredible heart to keep in the fight. Just look at the determination on the way they're carrying the ball, and you'll see the hits shortly, I'm pretty sure.
South Africa looking to defend against Kenya. And I've got to say, off the field, Kenya also kicking some goals. They picked up a sponsor worth over 500,000 Rand during the week. Pretty handy cash. And so some positives on and off the field for Kenya. Remembering they only came onto the world stage just over 12 months ago.
Yeah, huge, huge. I think that's a fantastic story. And what a great example for South Africa as well, to get on board and start to try finding those sponsors, because we've got the skill, we've got the talent, and the way we breed rugby players, perfect for rugby league as well.
The marker's offside. The referee this time is right in awarding the penalty. There's been an issue in this game. I don't want to be nitpicking, but that's probably a positive for the match officials, that they have policed it even towards the back end of the game when the game's been won and lost. But it's an important facet of the game in terms of you just can't do that and you can't get away with it. And I'm pleased on this occasion that, for what it's worth, the referee's saying you can't do it. and hence the penalty has been given. There goes the full-time siren, and there's the final play of the test match, and it is all over. So it's an emphatic victory to South Africa. They led 22-8 at the break. And in the words of Toto, let the rains fall down on Africa, because after 60-odd years for the Rhinos, the drought is finally over. 50-12, a famous night in Pretoria, the Rhinos knocking over their international newcomers from East Africa, the Jasiri of Kenya, brave in defeat, but it's 50-12 at the final hooter. South Africa, too strong for Kenya.
Yeah, too strong indeed, Costo. I think that pretty much summarizes the kind of game that the Rhinos were playing. They knew their strengths. They played towards their strengths. They were very patient in trying to take advantage of the space out wide. They tried it early on. They weren't accurate enough with their passing. When they were in the danger zone, maybe some nerves, a bit nervous, some things to work on, definitely for the Rhinos. But the Josiri, know your strengths, know your weaknesses so you can use your strengths. I think they just went a little bit too direct, went straight to the Rhinos front on, took them on toe-to-toe, and I don't think they had enough gas in the tank or size to deal with that, but a few very positive moments.
I'll tell you what, without telling John and Mbai what to do, if I'm the Kenyan coaching staff, I want Matua to get early ball, quality ball, because it was like a Ferrari stuck in the garage, and it eventually came out, but the game had already been lost.
Yeah, 100%. I think Mutua, if he played more of a role like Kutsa, we might actually see the Kenyans taking advantage and asking some better questions of the Rhinos. In the wider channels, they were really good. I thought the Kenyans, they scored that wonderful try with the offload and in the corner, which was really good. They started to try to offload the ball and play some attractive rugby league, but unfortunately, in the end, the Rhinos were just too good and very well organized, it must be said, by the SA Rhinos. The organization on defense, the captain keeping composure, and of course, Kutsa, the man, the general, who really controlled the game with his passing and his decision-making. Spot on.
Well, the two teams now just taking stock and shaking hands with one another after a big night for rugby league here in Pretoria in the Jacaranda City. The city's been beautiful in bloom, those jacarandas. You can't miss them. First thing you notice about this part of the world when you come to Pretoria, and in the first of these two test matches, it has been a big win for South Africa. Way too strong, but plenty of positives, I think, for the Kenyans, considering their circumstances with the delay in coming into the country, only touching down in Johannesburg, arriving in the City of Gold around lunchtime today after a restless night. So they've done pretty well to compete here, and no shame in getting a score put on them. Fudge is going to try and catch up with some of the players post-match as the two teams embrace in the middle of the ground here at the home of the Naka Bulls. If you'd like to learn more about what's happening in South African Rugby League, don't forget to check them out on all the social media platforms, particularly with the second game coming up on Saturday in this African Cup Series. The JP Botha African Cup. Over 2 legs, and tonight we've seen a big win for the Rhinos, 50 points to 12. Big thank you to our sponsors and supporters of South African Rugby League and the Rhinos program. There they are on screen. So important to keep the game ticking over in what is its third coming in this part of the world. And for the Kenyan Rugby League Federation, I know that the team in Nairobi, grateful for those organisations, those corporate partners on your screen, for their support of the Jasiri. Plenty of brotherly love on show as the two teams come together, mutual respect in spades. And of course, we'll do it all again here in Pretoria, across town on Saturday afternoon. Big thank you to everybody in Australia, New Zealand, the Pacific Islands, who have stayed up in the early hours of the morning to watch our live stream. And conversely, a big thank you to everybody in Europe, particularly on both sides of the channel, in the UK and in France, where there's a great history of rugby league going back to the game and its birth in 1895 in Huddersfield in the north of England. Of course, Huddersfield hosting one of the test matches only recently between England and Tonga. And congratulations to England in winning that series 3-0. And conversely, well done to the Kiwis on their success in the Pacific Championships, and also to the Kumals in winning the Pacific Bowl in Port Moresby. But here in South Africa, the home side, after 61 years, has literally broken the drought. They've won their first ever game on home soil. Amazing when you think about it, and it's been an interesting journey for the game in this country. The national team has played in London and Paris and Rome and Sydney and Auckland, and they finally won here on South African soil. So a famous night it is, winning 50-12 over Kenya. We'll go to Fudge very shortly. I think he's standing by in a moment or two with one of the heroes of tonight's first test in this African Cup series. We'll see if I can spot him out there. It's very dark, I've got to say. I'm looking at the monitor here, and our notes are very much covered in shadows. So it's been a challenging night at the office, so to speak, but an enjoyable one. We hope you've enjoyed our broadcast from Pretoria. Some post-match photographs being taken on what is certainly a night that each and every player, I'm sure, will cherish in the years to come. Coaching staff and medical staff. And the medical staff also deserve our recognition for South Africa, looking after both teams, which is very much symbolic of the sportsmanship and the camaraderie that's on show in the international rugby league community, especially in the emerging nations. And we'll count these two countries, obviously, in that grouping. So well done to South Africa. Commiserations to Kenya. 50-12, the final score here in Pretoria as the two teams leave the field. Not a big crowd, but certainly showing their appreciation here at the end. And great stuff here from the Rhinos in acknowledging their brothers from East Africa. Everyone back in Nairobi should not be too disappointed. The most challenging circumstances for the Jasiri.
So a player from the Jasiri, the
So
Kenyan Rugby League side that
Dennis
just played their first game in South Africa and their first test between the SA Rhinos and the Kenyan Jasiri. I'm with an absolutely stunning player. What a try he scored. One of the best rugby league tries I've seen from his own 5 meter. You were brilliant on defense as well. Just walk us through that special moment, Brian.
All I can say is just maneuvering through the defense and then just breaking all the way. Almost was caught in the middle between 5 and the try line, but then I found myself in the try line, then just scored. Don't know, it's God, it's just, I don't know. Yeah.
You say you don't know. You showed fantastic awareness. You looked and you knew exactly where you were going. Fantastic fend, and then the speed. How did you find those extra gears?
I don't know, just long steps. Yeah, and I was just there.
Fantastic heart.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic heart. Of course, you flew in. I can only imagine playing a test match after flying in around lunchtime. Incredible heart that your team showed.
Yeah. It was kind of challenging because of the traveling and a lot of just from the airport to the hotel and then to the field. Yeah, so we were not really prepared. But yeah, we just looking forward for Saturday. Yeah.
No doubt. And looking at Saturday, what do you think you can take out of this game? You were one of the players who look like you have a good understanding of rugby league. What can you take out? What are the work-ons?
Just, team composure. And, my guys should be together. I think we were more separate. We did not communicate more often. I think if we can work on that, will really go so well. Yeah.
I'm sure a few nights will be exactly the medicine you need, Brian. All the best for this coming weekend, another big one, and congratulations on a fantastic performance.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Of the SA Rhinos, Fani Bredenan, historic moment, first win on home soil in over 5 decades. It's an incredible moment for rugby league on the African continent as well. What are you going through right now?
Yeah, the first step was to get these guys here. That was one momentous moment for us, and for having these guys here and having a good game was the option, and I'm just glad it went well. And from here forth, I think Africa Rugby League is just going to grow.
No doubt it will grow. An incredible battle as well that you had. The Josiri definitely didn't make it easy. Took you over 10 minutes to score in the second half. What would you say about your side's performance?
Yeah, well, I'm very proud of the guys. You know, it's you can practice a lot of stuff, but doing the actual stuff, that's what it's all about. Because there's a lot of factors that comes into play, and if your opposition takes control, then you've got to recap, and that's what the guys had to do. It was a battle in the beginning, but you know, it's like an happy ship. You go through an exercise like this, and at second half, the guys started having a more relaxed approach, and things started working, and that's what we like about this sport.
Fantastic. Coach, thank you so much. Fantastic game. Congratulations. Big one coming up this Saturday. All the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jana.
Fani Bredenan, the coach of the South African team, he can smile. He can afford to smile because they've got the job done. They put the cleaners through Kenya, and they've done it quite nicely in the end on the scoreboard.
Kenyan Rugby League side, John Mbai, incredible heart. We know that Africans have got heart. That was a special performance. Ochieng with that incredible tackle. Mutua with that incredible try of the game, in fact. How are you feeling?
For us, I think it's just good to be able to get this out of the way. I mean, it has been years in development. Me and Fanny started this conversation some time back, and there was a lot of hurdles trying to get us to come here or them to come to Kenya, but I'm just happy we're finally able to play the game. Didn't go the way we wanted it, but a bit of encouraging signs here and there. I think there's a bit of fatigue, but also guys getting some bad habits into the game, particularly in defense. So 2 days to address some of those things, and just hope for a bit of consistency in the second game, so that we can, compete for a longer duration. I think we competed for a few spells of the game, but went out of character and started doing things that I wouldn't expect. But for me, it's about encouraging signs that some of the players were able to show, and hopefully we can build on that. Yeah.
Incredible, John, to hear you're not even making excuses about the travel, which is just unheard of, to land at lunch and play a test match at 6 p.m. Incredible. So big ups to you and your side and the management. I thought the players definitely put their hands up and showed some heart. Some work-ons, like you mentioned. 2 days, 3 days, and you play again. I think, is that enough time for you to combine and to work on those small little...
Okay, the players know what they need to do. So we won't even overemphasize about, the things that we can do over 3-4 days. I think it's more about rest and recovery and then addressing the mental block that came, that stopped them from executing some of the things we were trained back at home. But the flashes of brilliance had been seen there. And I think for me, it's been more interested in getting to see a more consistent performance over the two halves. And I think that's what we'll be focusing more on. And then basically addressing why we didn't do the set of six the way we had worked on back at home. Whether it's fatigue, whether it's some guys got shell-shocked to not be in position to do, get in the right positions to, form some good attack. But I do believe Saturday we'll have a much better performance with guys rested and us addressing some of those issues.
Definitely a huge moment for rugby league on the continent. Well, what does it mean for the Kenyan nation?
I think it can only get better. Rugby league was made for Kenyans. If you look at the shorter version of the game, back at home when guys play, Kenya's play sevens rugby, league is more of a running game. There are, of course, a bit of technical skills that you need to have, but I think Kenya can thrive playing league, and I'm happy that we've started a journey with the South Africans. I'm hoping that this will be an annual event, and I don't see why other nations can't come in and join in and make this an African affair and spread it out all over the world. So very young team, average age I think of 22, 23. With the right investment and the right focus, I think we can grow in leaps and bounds.
Congratulations on receiving your investment, John, and all the best going forward. An incredible historical moment here today. All the best for this Saturday. I have no doubt that your team will do a lot better, and I'm very impressed with what they were able to bring today. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Plenty of heroes out there tonight in both teams, really. And again, congratulations to the South African Rhinos, but also chin up to the Kenyans, because brave in defeat. That's I'm not trying to gloss over this performance, but just imagine turning up in the country, a new experience for so many of their players, literally only hours ago, and then having to play a test match here a long way from home.
I'm with two fantastic guys, great guys. They told me to say that, no, not great guys, attractive guys. Besides me, I'll allow them to introduce themselves, starting with the gentleman on my left.
Fudge, this is going to be confusing. My name is Frans Erasmus, and that is Frans Parsons. He's the CEO of South African Rugby League, and I'm the president of South African Rugby League. We're good friends, and we both love rugby league. We very happy with the results today. I think it was a bit unfair to the Kenyan team. They had a delayed flight, about 8 hours and longer, sitting on in the airport, and I think they were tired and a bit fatigued. But they put up a great fight, but we're happy that the Rhinos won. I think the next test is going to be a different story. They're going to be rested, they're going to be fresh, and we hope to see a good second test.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Frans. There were many challenges. I must say congratulations to the both of you for bringing the Kenyan side here, the partnership that you've had with the Kenyan management, and to make sure that this historical game, which I think is so powerful and wonderful for rugby league on the African continent. But where did you fall in love with rugby league, and what did it take to get to this moment? Costo, a man I was commentating with, mentioned that we've had a couple of goes at it, some unsuccessful. We've never really gained real momentum with rugby league in the country. There's a different feel in the air tonight. Is this the time?
Yeah, definitely. I fell in love with rugby league many years ago. I was fortunate to play the game for 28 years. I was also fortunate to captain the South African Rhinos for 2 years. And now it's time to put back into rugby league. And with a president like Doc Frans, he's an absolute professional. He's very finicky, and everything gets done in the right way. And that helps South African Rugby League to grow a lot, because we're part of the IRL, we're part of the ERL. And the actual amount of effort that he put into this game for the growing behind the scenes is absolutely fantastic. I've got an easier job, so he's in meetings every day with overseas clubs and the ERL and the RL with Sarah and everybody. So he's a doctor of profession, and he brings that professionalism into our game. And he also helped with the Kenyans to get our guys there to train them and so on. And I think there will be some training as well in the time that they're here. We've already had a little bit of chat with them. I'm actually surprised how they actually coped in this game after the delay of 8 hours. I won't say there's jet lag because it's not that far. But being awake for that time to stop here, get your kit and come here and play. We had that same situation when we played the British Lions in Italy, and it's definitely got an influence on your performance. But I'm looking forward to Kenya. These are the pioneers for Kenya. We've done this many years ago, and I know exactly what they're going through. It's a long road, but they've got the help from ERL, they've got the help from South Africa, and I think when they play in the MIA Cup, that will be an awesome experience for them as well. But I'm proud of our team, and congratulations with the win to South Africa.
Fantastic. You've heard it from the president and the CEO of the South African Rugby League, a historic moment here at the Nakapool Stadium. This Saturday, it's another big one, the 11th at 6 p.m., same time. Come out, support them. The rugby is attractive. I think there's a huge opportunity here to work on this. The combinations, the management, the networking has been done. And I must say, I take my hat off to both of you for being able to make this historical moment happen. To all of you, thank you so much for joining us. To the Rhinos, congratulations on their first win on South African soil in over 5 decades. It is brilliant. We'll see you this Saturday. Thank you very much.